Hey, it's Jen Mack, Lady of the Mind. Welcome to Life Mastery Decoded, where I help you decode the struggles in your life in the areas of health, wealth, relationships, and spirituality with mind mastery, emotional management, and meditation. Welcome to today's podcast. Hey, ladies, it's Jen Mack, Lady of the Mind. Welcome to today's episode where I hope I am finding you bored off your rocker. If you are not bored off your rocker, then it is my intention that in today's episode, I give you one nugget of inspiration towards your transformation. How many of you live really fast-paced, busy lives? Everybody raise your hand, because that's pretty much everybody. Technology and Facebook and work and our cell phones and our computers and everything is fast and furious. I remember my biggest complaint as a kid to my mom was, I'm so bored. Now, this was in the 80s, right? And I would constantly say that to her, and then she would give me a list of chores that I could do to overcome my boredom. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. And I look back at my life and my childhood, and I was like, I was outside all the time. I was climbing trees. I was running. I was playing basketball. I was climbing everything. I was riding my bike. I was swimming. I was very busy. But even as a kid, that's fun, right? You should do that. That's all part of the developmental game. But now what do? I'm busy, and I'm fast-paced, and I'm moving quickly. And how many of you do that? How many of you have a life that's fast like that? And how many of you want to get to a point in your life where you can just slow down? Like I keep telling Amy, I'm like, I just want to simplify my life enough where we can just kind of be bored a little bit. We can go sit on the deck and just enjoy the sunset. We can just go walk the dogs, but not have to hurry and walk the dogs because we have to hurry and get back to some list of things that have to be accomplished. Well, right now, I am 49 years old. I'm going to turn 50 in September. Yes, I'm a Virgo. And yes, I want to accomplish things. I love list making. I love accomplishing tasks, but I am definitely recognizing now in my life that what I want to do is find joy. I'm looking for more happiness. The tide is shifting for me as I'm reaching this later part in my life. And I keep telling her, because we're so busy all the time, I keep telling her, like, I can't wait to be bored again. Well, when I think about being bored, to me, that it means a simplified life where I can sit and relax or do something that I enjoy that is slower paced, right? But the biggest part is without guilt. And it's hard for either of us to do that. I feel like, man, I always have a podcast to record and I have a business to run and I'm trying to market and we're trying to push things forward and whatever. And it's like, well, if I could just sit back and just relax, maybe some of that creativity would spark something. So I remember not too long ago when I was at kind of writer's block or recording block for a podcast is that I would go and walk on the treadmill. Well, the thing about exercise, even, if I was going and working out, lifting weights, it's a little bit different. But when I'm walking on the treadmill, the body just knows how to walk. It's slow paced. There's not much going on. You're on a treadmill. It's kind of boring in itself. But yet I would get ideas. Things would flow to me. So I recognized that this was kind of a thing that I could choose that would create some creativity, but it would also allow me to move into that yin energy space. I recorded a podcast a little while ago about yin and yang energy, and it's about input and output and allowing myself time to have energy coming in, ideas, inspiration, guidance, about whatever, anything, life, ideas, anything. And then the output would be towards business or coaching or my relationships. And I'm definitely imbalanced there. And I have to be more present moment with that to say, listen, okay, you're getting a little frustrated. You're kinking the hose. You're choking the chicken. You're trying to force it. You're trying to push it and you're becoming frustrated. Well, it's too much output. So it tells me I'm yanging it to death. I say that all the time. I yang it to death. And we both do. Amy and I both do. We have these lists of constant things that we're working on and checking off. But it becomes so consumable and a little overwhelming. Well, let me tell you this. Busyness leads to more busyness. Like attracts like. If I am complaining, it is leading to more things to complain about. If I'm busy and I'm constantly busy, then it leads to more things having to be done. And so how do we get out of this cycle? Well, one of the things is to work on literally the balance between yin and yang energy. Being okay with slowing down. I've talked about this before, where it's like if you're feeling overwhelmed and you're feeling chaotic, is to literally stop and do things in slow motion. Walk slower, do the dishes slower, feel the process of the thing that you're doing. If you're vacuuming, if you're typing, if you're talking on the phone, is just to bring the energy down. I do that from stage. When I'm talking about something and I'm getting really excited, I'm using a lot of words and really fast energy, and I'm moving my body quickly. And what does that do? It creates more energy. My audience gets a little bit more excited. I feel a little bit more excited. You can wind up the dogs and wind up the kids. But on the other hand, when it is too much energy, it becomes overwhelming and chaotic. Then I choose, let's slow down. I notice that sometimes when I'm talking to Amy and I'm really excited about something, or on the other hand, I'm really frustrated about something, I talk really fast. I get up and I'm walking and I'm moving. I can't even contain the energy that's in my body. But if it's this negative energy, it doesn't create creativity. It creates the exact opposite, overwhelm. So what I do is I'm like, okay, wait. And I start talking slower, and it brings my energy down, which feels better immediately in my body. So if you are working at a pace that is so fast and so chaotic, look at your energy and look at it and see, what are my energy molecules doing? Are they completely scattered and bumping off of each other? Well, then I probably should come down a little bit. I probably should relax a little bit more and spend some more yin focused energy, yin time. And it's kind of like it's in the energy coming in and refueling my body. So I take some time where if I can't do a whole day, I have a friend. I'm going to call her a friend because I've been listening to her podcast religiously. She's not a friend. I've talked to her once. I've emailed her with her a couple of times. She's not really a friend, but I like to call her that. And she's in Australia, and I listen to her podcast all the time. And she talks about yin and yang energy, and she is able to, in her business, to give herself a yin week. So an entire week, she basically does nothing that is uninspired. Nothing. She doesn't force. She doesn't push. She doesn't do anything that isn't aligned with joy. So she spends an entire week doing things that bring her joy. Everything she does. I get up in the morning, I'm going to have a cup of tea. I'm going to eat whatever for breakfast, and then I'm going to go walk on the beach. And then I'm going to go for a bike ride, and then I'm going to read my favorite book, and then I might enjoy, sitting in my lounge chair in the backyard in the sunshine. And then I'm going to go do a little bit of shopping. I mean, it is an entire week of yin activities. So I think, okay, well, I can't do an entire week yet, but what can I do? I think a lot of people would say, oh, I can't do a week, so I guess I can't do it. Well, if I can't do a week, could I do sporadic periods of time throughout the day? Could I set a timer for 5 minutes and do something that I enjoy in this 5 minutes? Could I set a timer for 30 minutes at the end of the day and do literally something that I enjoy at the end of the day? All of that is going to help. All of it is. Another thing is focused on breathing and relaxing. Sometimes we are so busy, we forget these things. We forget that our mental energy needs a break and our body needs a rest. A lot of times we work and push and go and force and go quickly until the very end of the day when you can't keep your eyes open anymore. You have completely depleted your mental stores. Your mental faculties are completely empty. Well, it's no way to live. Let's learn how to refill. Another is doing literally what you want that serves you. I'm going to go do this thing, whatever that thing is. It has nothing to do with anyone else other than it brings me joy. And I'm going to go do it. And I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to drag it out. I'm going to feel the texture of everything. I'm going to take in the sights and the scenes and the sounds, and I'm just going to enjoy this moment. And I think playing a game like this can really help to put things that are important into perspective. I think that as we do that, we start to see life a little bit differently because we start to experience life a little bit differently. We stop forcing things into existence and we start allowing the flow of energy into our life. It's a lot of fun to think about. I remember making a list. Well, the thing to think about is the things that bring you joy. And I remember making a list and literally of all of these things that bring you joy. Think about everything and anything, physical things, mental things, reading, casual, different locations that would be joyful, like in your house or around your town or your city, community. And then doing those things during this time where you can spend doing yin work. And I should say yin play or yin awareness or preparation or activities instead of yin work. And I love sitting in my backyard where my dogs can just play and it's sunny and it's warm and I have my Adirondack chair and sometimes I'll bring my favorite book out or I'll go take them for a walk and I love being outside. I love it. So I'm going to add that to my yin week. That's going to be something I do. There's a lot of like small one-person activities that I like. Like I love riding my bike. I love gardening. I love rock climbing. I have a climbing wall in my backyard. I love kicking the hack around. I love playing with things. I have collectible stuff that I love just engaging with. I'm going to add that to my week. What can you add? What activities can you, and they don't have to be activities like that. They can be a combination of both, something that is physically active, but on the slower scale that really brings you joy, or there are other activities that bring you joy. Make a list and then sprinkle those throughout your week. I think some people think that being bored is a negative thing. Well, it depends on why we're bored. If we're bored because we don't have any meaning in our life, then that can lead to things that like depression, anxiety, overwhelmness, feeling of loneliness. But I think if you have meaning and you still have those relationships, then being bored can be a good thing. And I think it's important to sprinkle that into your life and to really understand why you're doing it. Because we want to get into the flow. We want to get into the flow of our lives and feel what it feels like to move in a direction towards something. But if you're feeling like you're pushing and you're fast paced and you're forcing things to happen or you're forcing change, then that's when I think, let's just set back and just relax into life and sprinkle a little bit more yin energy. What is this going to get you ultimately? Well, just like the tides come in, the tides also go out. Just like the seasons change, the winter starts and the winter leaves. It's just like the way nature, if you look at trees and leaves and grass and flowers, they all come in and they go out. And it's the flow of life. And so what is it going to give us? Well, as it comes in, it is giving us joy and happiness. So we are enjoying the moments that we are creating while we're here on this planet. And the yang energy is it's going to give us inspired action. It's going to give us the ability to produce things that bring us joy, more joy. So if I'm focusing on joy coming in, I'm going to create more joyful moments. If I'm focused on busyness and being busy and accomplishing the task, my task list is never going to be empty. I'm never going to be without the list of things to do. And if you're always waiting to check off the things on the list, you will never be without those things. Ever. Never. Because that's the area of focus. So pay attention to what gets your attention. I think it's really important to what steals my attention away and focusing on the things that bring us happiness and joy in those moments instead of waiting for something in the future to happen to bring you joy. Another thing that it can give you is it will give you this ability to serve others at a capacity that you couldn't do if your bucket was empty. I think When we talk about mental energy to me is very short-lived and very specific and very surfacey. When we talk about this spiritual energy, it is longevity, it's purpose, it's drive, it's commitment, it's determination that can last a lot longer because it's a more powerful energy. It gives me a chance to share more of myself with others. I'm more patient, I'm more loving, I'm more kind if my bucket is full and I've spent some time with some energy, with some joy. And so what can you do? So make your list of things that bring you joy and think of the things in all areas. So health, wealth, relationships, what brings me joy? Location, physical things, mental things, things that literally I only do for the sake of bringing me joy. It's not for anyone else but you. This is a way to show yourself that you love yourself. It's like having an employee, well, not an employee, it's like having a kid that you're just constantly pushing to go do chores. Go do more chores, more chores, more. It's not a very deep relationship. But if you say, hey, you know what? Let's go for a walk. Let's enjoy each other's company. That relationship is going to be a lot deeper and a lot more meaningful if you're spending time with each other. Because at the end of your life, what is our life anyway? It's a series of moments. And what are the majority of your moments? And let's make that shift together. Let's work towards a more joyful experience in life. And how do we do that? Well, we focus on what brings us more joy. If you liked this episode, please share this with 3 of your friends. And if you like this episode and look forward to future episodes, please consider making a small monthly donation to help support this podcast. If you're looking for a community to join and have more access to me, then consider joining one of my communities. Chakras for Beginners is an energy-based community that is highly active and growing every day. Lady Rising is a sistership community where the focus is on spiritual support and empowerment. We hold monthly calls and talk about topics just as like today's episode. We also have an online store where we can meet your meditation and chakra needs with products for your journey. You can visit us at www.themeditationroomtc.com. Thank you for joining me and being a valued listener.